Hey guys, Breach here, and you can see the time clearly behind me over here now that I have a clock up. I know it's been a bit since I've done any of the Dragon Quest updates or anything like that. I've been having a really fucking rough last month and a half. Um, Link, who I'm sure you guys heard snoring in the videos, he passed. I found out I failed the bar again. Chris's accident. Grandpa passed just a couple days ago. It's really hit me hard. And one of the things I turn back to whenever stuff kind of gets bad like this is Final Fantasy. It's how I met Chris and Ricky, how we became close friends. It's a big part of me. And right now, off screen, I'm doing my own kind of series playthrough to help process everything that's been going on in life. But alongside that, I wanted to do something to share it with you guys. But we already have videos of all of them posted. So I figured I'd kind of vlog the experience a little bit, you know? We don't have too terribly many vlog videos on the channel. And I think, I don't know, it'll help me commit through it and not have the playthrough die at 8 again if things go wrong, and kind of give a chance for me to give thoughts on the games. I've already started it with 1. I've got every North American release of Final Fantasy 1. It's probably my favorite game ever. Speedrun it. Hell, there's a speedrun video on the channel where in the middle of it Link decides to go take a shit in the other room, and I still make the leaderboard even though I take time to go clean it up. Because the little guy was more important to me than, you know, any kind of major time or anything like that. Final Fantasy 1, I decided to do the GBA version for both 1 and 2. For 1, I did it very casually. I used the speedrun party, but I played the game as someone would that knows what's up, but just kind of rolling through. And I did the full main bestiary for the main game, and ended up with 95% of it total for bonus dungeons and stuff. I did all bosses. I was going to do the full bestiary, but some of the bullshit in Whisperwind Cove, just no thank you. You end up running into situations where, for the bonus dungeons in FF1, again, pull up the card, all the floors are randomly chosen, and where it drops you off is random, but the floors are static. And so some of them are themed after different dungeons earlier in the game. Some after the Flying Fortress, some after the Marsh Cave. And it's random which order the floors appear in. But certain enemies can only appear on certain floors and at certain depths in those. And Whisperwind Cove is particularly bad. There's 40 floors to it. And you have enemies that can only appear on floors 31 through 39, which is cool, but they can only appear on certain floors. So if you tear through all of your Marsh Cave tile floors, or your Floating Fortress tile floors, you're shit out of luck and you have to go back through it. And it took me 2.5 hours to work my way through the bonus dungeon there, because I wasn't pulling up maps for it or anything, and I don't have that shit memorized. I just know all the base maps. So, yeah, I'm not going to do full bestiary. All bosses is good enough for me. I mean, Omega, the FF5 Omega bonus boss, actually put some challenge into the game. Mainly because I didn't have any party-wide healing, and he would either do 700 damage individually, or 300 to 400 damage party-wide, and he's got 35,000 HP, which, you know, when you get a beefed up black belt, it doesn't seem like much, but it's a lot more than you'd think. So that fight was actually challenging and fun. I'm gonna do kind of a challenge for each of these games. The idea was play them to the extent that there's really no doubt that I have conquered that game. I love this series. I'm only sorry about scratching my ear there. I'm only a few individual items up until this giant fucking Switch release of 8 games, from having every North American release of the Final Fantasy series across each iteration. Like, I have Xbox One games and no Xbox One. Like, the collection kind of got out of hand there for a little bit, but it's so close to completion, I might as well. So I'm going to roll back through all of these with some challenge for the main series games. I'm going to end up playing the offshoot games too, just because reasons, you know? For me, it's a way to process through this stuff. And I want to do kind of an every couple days vlog of how the series is going, as an accountability measure for me, but more as kind of a conversation, a shared experience. I know a lot of the people around here that don't know Chris and Ricky in real life started out in the Final Fantasy playthrough series. And myself included, it's a damn good series, and it brings us all together. And I think having a conversation about the series, what we like, what we don't, it really fueled a lot of the earlier streams and videos. It gave us all something to unite together under a common interest. So, if you guys want to play along and share, like, comments, share in the Discord how you guys' journey is going, I'd really be interested in hearing it. But yeah, it's a challenge for each one. I think it's a good way to keep it fresh. And for most of them, I've played them so many times that the challenge makes it feel new. For Final Fantasy II, I've already started it. I'm scratching my ear again in the video. I just picked up the Sunfire, about to go to the Dreadnought. My challenge for it is the Soul of Rebirth bonus at the end of it. Like, all the bonus dungeons was my challenge for FF1, and full bestiary for the main game, including the 3 1 out of 64 encounters, Warmech, Iron Golem, and Tyrannosaur. And for 2, I thought, originally I was thinking, okay, I'll do all bestiary, all chests. Because the Origins collection on PS1 will actually track chests opened for 1 and 2. Which I decided not to do that for 1 because the bonus dungeons, the chests repopulate. So, yeah. And then the challenge ceased being fun at okay, you're going to have to do 2.5 hours again, maybe more, for 7 enemies that you just could not run into your first time through. Which I called bullshit on, and I decided, you know what? All bosses. It's good enough for me. I did it when I first got this specific cartridge as a kid, and haven't since. I actually think that file might still be on there if the battery's not dead. So, Final Fantasy II is a game that Chris will not play again. He's flat out said that to me before. I don't mind it. I think it's a very primitive version of Elder Scrolls leveling, which is a big turnoff for a lot of people. But once you figure out how to exploit certain things in the game, particularly the sheer number of instant death spells, and with the updates in the PSP, Game Boy Advance, PlayStation 1 version, where you're guaranteed some HP ups and some stat ups, and you can just control your MP ups, strength ups, things like that, it's a lot more palatable. Now, anyone who plays the updated versions and still hates them, I'd say, okay, yeah, it's not for you. Because not every game's for every person. Your favorite game, I could absolutely hate, and my favorite games, you could absolutely hate. Not every game's for every person, and FF2 is certainly not for everyone. It's where most series playthroughs die. If they don't die at 2, they die at 8, or they die at 12. That's just the way it is. Sometimes 3, actually, because that one's a little... The encounter rate on some versions can get high, and the PC version is bugged to hell, and they're never going to patch that. So, this video will kind of be an FF1 recap, FF2 progress marker. And I do want to interlace with progress markers, but I definitely want to do a recap for each game. I think that'll stir up the conversation more. Like, hey, how did we enjoy what we went through? What are we looking forward about what's coming ahead? So, FF1, again, favorite game. I was a little disappointed that I wasted time and ended up doing 7 hours for the main campaign, even though that meant that was full bestiary at that point for main story. It was just the bonus dungeons that I had to go back for. Did I? No, there were 5 enemies I had to go back for. So it was about 7.5 hours for a full bestiary main campaign. That's the only part I was disappointed in, was how long it took me. Generally, that's like a 5.5 hour game for me when I'm not speed running it. But, you know, it's good to just take your time and smell the roses, kill a bunch more monsters than you intend to, not run from fights that you otherwise would. That's really what took so much more time, was I just didn't run from anything. That game will always have a special place in my heart, just because I remember playing it with my dad as a little kid. And on this exact cartridge, this was his before it was mine. And he did the Nintendo Power contest with all of the questions and the picture of the War Mech defeated screen. I wish games would do something like that again today. I granted, nowadays it'd be so easy to fake that shit and just Google the answers, but if there were a way to do something like that now, I think that'd be really cool. I think there's a lot of awesome things with the game, even though half the shit in it doesn't work because it was spaghetti coded by Nasir. I think that it does hold up. I think definitely play one of the newer versions. If you want to play on the NES Classic for the NES version, be ready for some grinding. That one takes a lot more time. But the newer versions are fairly accessible. You can see where everything else in the series has evolved from. Because the series every game in the series has its roots deep into that first game. And I think that's where a lot of the magic now comes from for it. Like, no, it's not the best game ever. But I think it holds up because you can see where everything came from. The stories are all their own, but the tropes, the mechanics, they all build upon each other. And that game, if for no other reason than understanding names in Final Fantasy 15, has a place and should be played. A lot of people say it's cryptic, but there's fucking game facts. You don't have to wander around the world blindly. And some people like to do that. More power to you. But even if you're not doing that, NPCs will tell you where to go. You just have to listen and kind of figure it out. It's not near the NES logic that, say, Bomb Rocks in Zelda 1 was. I think I'm going to wrap up on the Final Fantasy 1 just because I've harped on it a lot in this video, and you guys know my feelings. I'd love to hear your feelings on it and discuss it. And now I'll shift to a progress marker on Final Fantasy II. Like I said, this first video, since I didn't decide to do it until about 30 minutes ago, is going to be a little helter-skelter. So, told you guys I just got the Sunfire in FF2. I'm getting a lot of HP ups, more so than I usually do, which is kind of good. Like, I never wear armor in it, and I think I'm getting more HP ups because I generally will dual wield after a certain level with the shields, but I've left shields on, so people are doing less damage than I'm used to. I'm rolling Firion on swords, Maria barehanded black magic. Firion's also got teleport leveled up pretty high, so he's white magic and swords. Maria barehanded black magic. Guy, or Gus, is spears. And then I'm trying to put useful stuff on each of the rotating fourth party members, because if I'm going to do Soul of Rebirth, I'm going to have them again at the point where they were when they died in the story. So, Minwu, I gave him a mithril sword, mithril shield, had him trained up to like level 4 on each of those. Didn't really do much with his magic, but with Joseph, I worked his barehanded, gave him a shield before he left, and taught him a couple magics. Gordon now. I'm still working spears with him, because that's what he's defaulted to being the highest level. I don't know much about Soul of Rebirth other than, the mechanics of it, and that it's your dead party members come back. I know that the first time I ever tried to do it, I ended up with Scott, and then got either Joseph or Min, and hit a point where everyone was just so weak that I couldn't progress. So I'm trying to put more time into my rotating fourth this time around, knowing that I'm going to be doing Soul of Rebirth. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now, is my stats are a little higher than I expected them to be based on previous playthroughs, and I'm trying to, that is partially because of the way that I'm doing my characters, but partially because I'm taking time to put effort into the fourth party member slot, which generally is just a corpse that you drag around from fight to fight. So I'll update you guys. I don't know that I'm going to do another update in the middle of Final Fantasy II unless that drags on for like 3 or 4 days. I've got the funeral coming up this week, so it may, depending on how much I get knocked out tomorrow, since I don't have to work because Veterans Day. We'll see. It's probably going to be at least Thursday before I finish it, and somewhere in the middle of it, I'm going to record another Dragon Quest VIII video to put up here, because I want to get back into that series. It really bothers me that I got through the longest and most obscure of the games, and then life hit me to the point where I just couldn't focus well enough to record, and knowing that I wouldn't have the snores interrupting the video, that's been one of the reasons why I haven't really done a video or streamed, because I'm used to little boy dog laying right there underneath a blanket and snoring while I do this, and it just doesn't feel right without that. But the show must go on. I've put enough time and effort into that project that I'd like to see it through. And there's only 3 games left. We're a good chunk into 11. We've started 8 and then 9. So it's not going to be every day like it was, not at first anyways, but I do want to get back into updating that series. It's sat dormant for a little bit of time. And yeah, that's where I'm at. Final Fantasy Series Challenge playthrough, which is going to include side games, maybe interspersed in between the main games, maybe all at once at the end. I don't know. There's fucking over 40 games, including all the side games, and we're 1 down. and a lot of them I haven't played. Like main series, the only ones I haven't beaten are 12 and 15. If you count the offshoots or the sequels, then throw 10-2 and Lightning Returns into that mix. And I've always wanted to finish those out, because it being one of my favorite series and a foundation on kind of who I am as a gamer, feels like I should. Anyway, 20 minutes is long enough for this shit. I'll wind off here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Look forward to more Dragon Quest, more of these update style vlogs. They're not going to be fucking 20-minute vlogs each time. It'll be closer to 10 minutes, if that. And returning to the Zelda streams too. That's going to be hard too, just because obviously Link was named after the main character of Zelda. But we're close to the end of Twilight Princess, and then we have Skyward Sword, and then Chris is going to take Breath of the Wild. At least that's what he said. He's got enough on his plate with SNES Fest that I may end up doing Breath of the Wild, and it's going to be kind of a crapshoot because I don't like that game, but we'll see. We'll see. Share the YouTube channel around. Keep up to date with the stream. Chris is pouring his heart and soul into that. And SNES Fest is a daunting project, but he's already further into it this year than I thought he would be for a very long time. So be sure to show him some love on that. Anyways, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.